Okay, so we just saw how movement turns those idiomatic expressions like into living things, right? And now let's really zoom in on something crucial, I think, to RhythmSpeak and how expressive it can be. It's kinesthetics, that awareness of how our bodies move, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, if the MOVES are the words of RhythmSpeak, then kinesthetics, it really is like the sense, the sense that lets all that movement, all those words, actually like speak volumes.
Right.
It's that awareness, it's intentional, and it takes just a normal gesture, a simple gesture, and turns it into a powerful way to communicate.
So how does this awareness of our body, how does that really fuel those motion optimized expressions, those MOVES?
Well, it's about tapping into that connection we all have. It's fundamental. It's feeling and moving. And when someone's using RhythmSpeak and they're really aware of their posture, like the way their hands moving through space, even the tension, the subtle tension in their muscles, they can make gestures with just amazing precision. It's like a conversation back and forth between what you're feeling inside and how you're expressing it outwardly.
So it's not just those big obvious movements, but it's the subtle things too.
Exactly, yeah. It's the nuances, the subtleties, and that sensitivity to kinesthetics. It gives you this really rich palette, this range, this amazing range of communication.
Wow.
Think about how, like, just a small change, just a little shift in how fast you're moving, how fast that movement is, that can show urgency, or it can show peacefulness, or like, a change in direction. Does that mean you're focusing on something? Does it mean you're avoiding something?
Yeah.
It's that fine-grained control. It's driven by that kinesthetic awareness. And that's what gives RhythmSpeak, its power, its expressive power.
So how does this deep connection we have to movement, how does that make communication better, specifically in RhythmSpeak?
Well, one of the huge benefits is it enhances your expressive capability.
Okay.
Like, because people who use it, practitioners, because they're so turned into their bodies, they can communicate really complicated ideas really clearly. And learning RhythmSpeak means like refining those kinesthetic skills, right? Making tiny changes, adjustments, just to be sure that your message is clear visually, that it has the right nuance to it.
So you mentioned nuance, and I'm curious about the emotional side of all this.
Oh yeah, that's really where the kinesthetics just resonate. Yeah. It's emotional.
Okay.
Because in RhythmSpeak, when you physically do MOVE, it's not just a neutral thing. It's not just an action. It has feeling built in.
Right.
And doing certain movements, over and over, repeating them, that can actually amplify like their symbolic meaning. It makes a stronger emotional connection between the person communicating and the person, seeing it.
RhythmSpeak is designed to be accessible, right? So how do kinesthetics play into that?
That's where the primary identifying feature comes in.
Okay.
It's the PIF.
Okay.
And that PIF, it's the most important kinesthetic part of every movement.
Yeah.
So even if you have to adapt the whole gesture for someone because they have different physical abilities, that essential feeling and that intention, like the kinesthetic core, that's what the PIF is. That stays the same. So the meaning stays the same for everybody.
That's a great way to make sure everyone's included.
Yeah.
So it's the core feeling of the movement, no matter how big or small the gesture is, that carries the meaning.
Yeah, exactly. And when people are watching RhythmSpeak, those kinesthetic cues, those are so important. We just naturally interpret body language.
Right.
I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
And RhythmSpeak builds on that. So the way movements happen in space, their rhythm, how they flow, the energy, all that.
Yeah.
Those are kinesthetic cues. And they give us context, important context.
Right.
And they help us understand the deeper meaning. They even help us follow, complicated ideas that are shown through movement.
Let's think back to those standalone expressions, those STAEs.
Yeah.
How does all this kinesthetic precision, how does that work with them?
Oh, STAEs. I mean, they totally depend on doing the kinesthetics right. Doing them precisely. Like tape by the bullet, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's not just clenching your jaw. It's a specific way of tensing up your jaw. Maybe your shoulders flinch a little.
Right.
And then you deliberately relax, settle down. And those very specific kinesthetic details, I mean, that is the idiom. If you don't physically do it that precise way, the meaning just isn't there.
Wow. So then what about when you string those individual MOVES together into longer sequences?
Then you need fluidity, kinesthetic fluidity. That becomes super important.
Okay.
Because, to move smoothly between the movements, to transition well, that depends on strong kinesthetic awareness. It's your body's ability to move smoothly and with intention from one gesture to the next. That creates a flow of expression that makes sense, that's cohesive, and that makes the whole communication more impactful. It makes a bigger difference.
So it's clear that our sense of movement, how we sense our bodies moving, it's not just some side thing. It's really crucial to RhythmSpeak. It's at the center of how RhythmSpeak can communicate these complicated ideas and subtle emotions.
Absolutely. It's how we use our kinesthetic sense consciously and in a refined way. That's what unlocks RhythmSpeak and lets it be this really embodied, expressive way of communicating.
It really makes you think. Like, think about, for a second, just think about how being in tune with how your own body moves, that feeling of motion inside you, how that might not only change how you express yourself, but how you understand all that unspoken language around us,
Yeah.
It's a fascinating connection to explore. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.